What's up, Roulette Pools? Brent with AOB, back with another strategy. This is actually a homegrown strategy, one that I made just for fun. I'll give you the details later. All right, I call this echelon. We're going to start here with 9 units. I'm using 10-cent units. This one, as with all low coverage, progressive coverage, initially low coverage, but they progress. You get some really good payouts, but they're risky. This is not a daily driver. This is for fun. Look at that. We just hit right off the bat. So on this one, initially, we're going to start with 1 unit on these 3 streets. We're going to use 1 unit on these 3 corners, and then 1 unit on these 3 splits. Now, on this first progression, if we hit anywhere here on these 6, 9, and 12, or the 4, 7, 10, these 3 numbers, it pays 21 units. If we hit these middle 3, 5, 8, and 11 on the second dozen, it pays 39 units. If we hit the 1 and 2 here on this first progression, it's a break even, nothing, and this is -9, as are all the rest of these. All right, once we do that, we lose. What we're going to do is we're going to add 1 more echelon to this, so another street, and then we're going to add 1 unit to the bottom. So we started with 1 unit on everything. We add 1 unit, 1 unit, 1 unit, and then I add 1 unit to these bottom streets. So now we have 2 units on the bottom streets and 1 unit up there. And again, the payout is, it's 26 units up here. If you hit the first and the third numbers, it is 44 units profit if we hit this middle. But now we get into the negative here. Look at that, boom, 560. So we're going to start over. Now you can walk this down. You can move this if you want to. You can move this echelon as you go, like we did in the previous strategy where we did move the chains. You can absolutely move this. If you notice a dozen or a certain area the board is hitting a lot, definitely push this over there. You're not stuck with here. And in fact, I have this progressing with the coverage from left to right, right? So we're adding echelons as we go to the right. I'll show you how many we go and what we start doing after that. But you could also move it to the left if you wanted to. All right, we're going to progression 2. Again, we rebet. You would have the same 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. We would add another echelon here with 1, 1, 1, and then add a second here, which would be 2 units on the bottom, 1 unit on top. And again, all these are profitable in the box here. The only numbers that aren't profitable are these fringe ones right here. On the first go around, these 2 are break even, but now these actually lose 7 units and this loses the entire 16 units. All right, so we're at 2. So we're going to go to 3. Now, for your units, I have a $1,000 bankroll. I highly suggest that you have at least 1,000 units in your bankroll for whatever you're playing here. And actually, I prefer 2,000 units. Now we're using 10 cents, so you can multiply 10 cents times 1,000 to get your bankroll or whatever. If you want to use 50-cent units, whatever it is, multiply that by 1,000. That to me gives you your very base start. All right, that's 3. That was 3, right? For $4. Yep. We go on to 4. So we're repeating the pattern at this spot. We're repeating the pattern where we're adding an echelon with matching it, and now we're just martingaling it. So after this 4th street is covered, right, the second progression, from the 3rd, 4th, the next progression's on, we're matching plus martingaling the whole thing. That's why this thing can get very expensive very quickly if you don't hit. There we go. There's a profit. Boom. 1 hit. We're done. Okay. That's what I like about this one. I like about it that you got good coverage. I don't like starting with really low coverage, like 3 or just like 1 echelon. I don't like that, covering just 3 numbers. Let's cover at least. I could even see playing this starting out with 5 streets, but it has worked really well with me with covering out 3 streets, 9 numbers, and working our way up all the way till we get to 21 number coverage. As you'll see here, if we get that far, hopefully we don't. Okay, if we work our way up to 21 coverage or 7 streets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Once we cover all the way up from the 4 to the 22, It's just Martingale from there on out. Okay. And that is when these strategies, if you've seen this in the past, we played Virus, those can get super expensive. So these definitely, you play these for fun with disposable income of your disposable income. Okay. So be very careful, but I have yet to bust on this one, but I guarantee you there's always a first time. All right, there we go. And we were what? We were at $1.60. So now we're going to the next one. So we're matching the 2 units on this new street, add 1 unit, and then we martingale the whole entire thing. So now we have 4 units on the streets, 2 units on the corners, and 2 units on the splits there. All right, let's keep going here. And the payouts on this one here, if we hit the first and the third columns on this, we make 44 units here, 44 units here, and here we're making 80 units here. If we hit this 1 and 2 at this point, we lose 22 units, and the 3 is obviously, and the rest of these are all full losses, as is the 0. All right, let's see if we can get back into this thing. Ooh, we just missed. All right, where was that? We were at $4. Okay, so we're going to go to the next one. And this is a 960 bet. You can see now we added an echelon, 4 units, 2, martingale the whole thing. So now we have 8 units on the bottom, a $9.60 total bet. Let's see if we can get it hit. And again, we're in profit on all the, other than this 1 and 2, we're in profit on all these numbers with a banger profit here on these middle numbers here. There we go. Banger right there. Boom. Yeehaw. All right. Now we're going to go back to base. I'm a lazy, as Brad likes to call it, I'm lazy with my gambling. So I believe in simple, and I believe in just staying the same. It's working, so I'm not going to change it. But you can absolutely rotate these around if you feel like you don't want to get stuck in the same place over and over and over, and you want to cover more of the board throughout your different sessions. All right, we're doing so well so far. There we go. Boom. We're just going to rinse and repeat at this point. I put this, so what happened here is we were doing live stream, and some of our members are always submitting strategies from like Bet with Mo, which I consider to be very high risk, not daily divers, right? They're daily drivers, not divers. Played for fun. If you got some disposable income, if you want to bet really, really low unit amounts, they can be fun, they can be rewarding, but they can also rinse whatever your bankroll is very, very quickly. All right, here we go. We're going to keep going. All right. And not bad for a 90-cent starting bet. And I think our biggest bet so far was $9.60, or maybe it was one more after that. Maybe we went up to, yeah, I think it was $9.60 has been our biggest bet so far. But either way, maybe we went one more beyond that. But these are fun. But I think if you have, like I said, if you're going to play with pennies or 10 cents or so, or even less, then go for it. Outside of that, I wouldn't play these with anything more than 10 cents. And again, I would suggest your minimum bankroll is 1,000 units of your starting bet unit. Okay. So 10 cents times 1,000, right? You're going to want at least to have $100 on this minimum. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, $100 minimum. And that's not even enough, right? That's not even enough. That's barely enough. So I like having more than that. You can see I started out with a $1,000 bankroll on the 10 cents. All right, here we go. That was at $4. Okay, we're going to go 960. And it's really preferable to me on these. Save your bets. Save your bets so that you don't have to be clicking and trying to place these and then making sure you're matching these. Because here we'd have to put 8 units, 4 and 4, and then double the whole thing. Just save your bets. Much easier that way. All right. I don't believe we've gone beyond this level. Let's see if we go beyond this level. I sort of want you to see that, but it doesn't look like we're going to get there today. And I do like this because it ends up at 21 units, 21 number coverages, 21 number coverage. So by that point, if we haven't won all these, at least at that point, you have a decent chance if you give yourself enough progressions and you're able to martingale from them, of hitting 21. You're basically a little over 50% at that point, right? So not bad. So let's see where we're at. We're at 10 minutes right now. I want to go for at least the full 15 and then give us time to recover. And I actually wanted this to go. What I want these to do is go kind of deep into the progressions, because as I've said many, many times, it doesn't matter. It's not really that important how much profit you make necessarily, right? That is one factor. That is one metric, but how deep does this go, and how frequently, and how well is the recovery? Those two things are far more important to me on a strategy than anything else. Booyah. All right. And so far, what I like about this one, because the first and the third columns still pay nicely. So you get this banger in the second, but this first and the third, for the most part, gets you into profit on one hit. So to me, it not only gets you into profit on one hit, but you have these extra banger numbers right here. The 5, 8, and 11, these three right here, because this 14, right? These are flanked by the top, these two sides, and the bottom. The 14 only gets the advantage of one corner. So this is the same as the bottom here. All right, we're going to keep going. So what I like about this one versus some of the other riskier strats that I've seen from some of the other channels, those have just a few banger numbers, oftentimes partial losses and only partial wins that don't get you. This one I like because your first and your third column, all the numbers in here, with the exception of these two numbers, these outliers, the 1 and the 2, or wherever you move this, those two outliers here, all these profit nicely and will get you back up in a hit. Boom, look at that. We're in profit. We're in profit on one hit. And we're not relying upon these three numbers only. We get all the numbers in our grid right there. Okay, oops, we got to go back down all the way to base bet. I think we might have gone. We started at the second instead of the first progression last time. I don't know. I don't remember, but okay. We're at 12 minutes. We're up $25 on a 90-cent base bet. Okay, there it is. There's a 0. Finally. And unfortunately, there's no great way to, well, I take that back. We could cover the 0 on this and play on a French table. It would do some working, because you can see here, this is covering 3, this is covering 5 numbers. This first street is covering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is covering 4. It would take a little bit of cleverness, but I think we could get it to cover the 0. Boom, look at that. Not only we recover in one hit, we go up into profit, just like that. Okay, and did we even go to the second progression? I'm not sure we did. Let's see. Let's go to our history here. And let's see what it shows. So we bet 260. Okay, so we did. We did go to the second progression. I wasn't just being brain numb. So anyway, I've played this now probably 12 times, several times on our live streams. And then this is the first time I've recorded it. There's a banger number. Boom. Boom. So tell me what you think about this. Tell me what you would do differently. Get into our Discord. We have a channel, sub-channel, but nothing but roulette strategies. I think if I don't have this posted, I will post it. I believe I do have it posted. It's nice because people can then go comment on these and add their own modifications to this, the mods that they put to this. You might go, oh, I like that better. Like, for example, once you get to the end, maybe you're doing a Fibonacci sequence, right? Maybe you're doing, something along those lines. You don't have to do a martingale once you get past to a certain thing. There's all sorts of different options for your progressions as far as how you're going to multiply it. So maybe you go up 2, come down 1 on wins. There's all sorts of variations. I like the martingale because it gets you back up, but it's also can get very expensive if you get all the way to the end, which we have yet to do. But if you get all the way end, at that point, 21 number coverage, you're just martingaleing it from there on out. I like that the best, but I think you could do a modified Fibonacci out there. Oh, come on. That 6 would have been nice. Would have gotten us out of it quickly. All right, here we go. We're all the way to the end here almost. So basically, after this, we only have one more level, which we haven't gone to yet. And from that point, it's strictly no more spreading. We're just martingaling until we hit. Okay, and I actually would like to get to the end. We're at 15 minutes. So if we win and we recover, we'll call it. But I'm kind of hoping we miss a couple because I want to get to this last one and have to go through a couple wins so you can see what that looks like. All right, there we go. So we're to the fifth and final spread here. Let's see what happens here. And maybe we've been here once before. I don't recall. I'm yapping too much. By the way, you see that QR code up there. Click it. If you got disposable income and you're looking to gamble, this takes you to as an affiliate, an AOB affiliate on Raised Casino. And what does that do for you? A, we have a VIP transfer with Raised over there. It's excellent. B, you'll be eligible for our elevated giveaways during our live streams. So enhanced prizes. We're going back to all hands giveaways. Oh my gosh, just missed. All right, here we go. This is what I wanted to see. We are now at $44. That's why I think even 1,000 isn't enough. So let's go with your bankroll on this should be a minimum of 2,000 units. So we should have at least $200 bankroll at least. And I think it should be even higher than that. All right. Got the cat jumping on my table. All right, let's see if we can get a couple hits here. This is where I would actually like maybe one or two more losses so we can really get down into it and see what it looks like. All right, there we go. There's another loss. Good. So let's go again. We're going to martingale. We're up to an $89. That's what I'm saying. If you get out here, these are risky. You get out here and you keep hitting, which is very likely to keep hitting down here. It can get hairy. So let's see. Right now, obviously, we are hoping for one of these numbers to hit, but we're still very profitable on the first and third column numbers. All right, dude, you need to go somewhere. I'm middle recording. Everybody say hi to Soybean. Hello. All right, buddy. All right, there's a good hit, but that doesn't get us back to, at this point, that does not get us back because we're at 21 number coverage. That is not going to get us back from all the previous losses, but it got us relatively close back at that point. It recovers from that previous bet, but it's not bad considering how many we lost in a row. All right, dude. What he wants is he either wants outside or he wants food. The only two things my cat seemed to want, food or outside. All right, let's go. Also, remember, if you have a strategy, submit it to us. We would love to see it. There we go. Where does that get us? Boom! 2 hits. And not only are we recovered, we go way up into profit on that. $70.10. Sure, it started with a 90 cents, but you can see it went all the way up to what was our last bet? I'm not going to rebet it right now because I don't want to actually play on it. So it got up there, maybe $44. Got up to a $44 bet. I'm going to hit replay. I'm going to keep you here and keep it. But anyway, remember, submit a strategy. If we use your strategy in one of these episodes and it at least breaks even, all right, we would have won on that one. Let's see what the bet was. The final bet was an $89.60 bet. So pretty steep, $89.60. And you certainly, if you play this, you could bring those bets back, right? Once we got the first win, you could definitely rebet the initial 5th level progression and maybe double that once and bring your bets back down, and it would have gotten you even. If you want to protect your bankroll, and your progressions, which is highly recommended by me. If you're using nothing but disposable income, go for it and see if you can get a banger out of it. We were able to get a nice hit out of it. And now he's hitting all the numbers that we would keep winning on. So I really like this strategy. It's fun. It's not a daily driver for me, but it's a lot of fun. All right, that's it. Remember, submit your strategy in our Discord. Get paid for it. We'll be bringing back comment rewards starting in July. All you got to do is comment, put the code words in there. Boom, you're going to win. And if you have disposable income and you want to gamble, hit that scan that QR code, or get in our Discord for the links. And we give away money to our affiliates every single day. All right, that's it. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know any modifications. Better yet, get in our Discord. Post your mods there and your comments there so that everybody can take advantage of it. All right, be good humans. Us against the casino always. And really, progressions are life, okay? So be aware. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Cheers.